One of the most universal and widespread technical indicators is known as moving averages. They are used in most trading systems that incorporate trend following indicators because they're extremely easy to plot. Of course, although we don't have to plot anything ourselves, we've got a computer for the humdrum work. It's a good idea to understand how they are calculated because we will then be able to use them more effectively. So, the simple moving average, or SMA for short. Let's cast our minds back to our school days and those long arithmetic lessons. No doubt you remember how to calculate the average of a number of values. Take a look at the formula for the SMA. N is a variable and is the number of time periods in the moving average. And C, for close, is an old friend of ours, the closing price. Although other prices can be averaged, for example, the high, the low, or the midpoint between the high and the low, more often than not it's the closing price that is averaged. So we can see that SMA is simple and that it's an average, but what about the moving? Let's take 5 bars or candlesticks, whichever you prefer, but we'll take 5 bars for the sake of simplicity. With these 5 consecutive bars, we can calculate the first value of our simple moving average. At the beginning of the new day, or hour, or maybe week, a new closing price will be added to our formula, and the last one will drop off at the same time. We've started moving along the price chart. We have selected a variable of 5. It may be 5 days, 5 hours, or 5 weeks, whatever. It's a relatively small period. The moving average dogs the price chart pretty closely. If we increase the period to 10, for example, then the moving average will look smoother and slower. What I mean is that it will react more slowly and smoothly than the price chart. Compare it with a 5-period moving average. If you're using SMA as a trend indicator, then the slower SMA is sounder and more reliable. In previous films, we examined support and resistance in the form of straight lines. What we have here are curvilinear support and resistance made up of moving averages. We can use them as trend indicators. When price is higher than the simple moving average, it's an uptrend, and when price is lower than the moving average, it's a downtrend. This uses the commonly cited major drawback of moving averages, that they lag behind the price chart, to our advantage. But because this average is called simple, it stands to reason there are more complicated averages. Well, first off, my friends, let's remind ourselves that the goal of technical analysis is to forecast future price behavior on the basis of past price behavior. Have you ever heard of a weather forecast based on the statistical data of the amount of snow that fell 10 years ago? It's not likely. Of course, research data should take the past into consideration, but it's the current situation that lies at the heart of any forecast. What I mean is, what happened today is more important, it carries more weight than what happened yesterday, and yesterday's events are more important, they have more weight than those of a year ago. And now let's go back to the formula of the 10-day simple moving average. There's a factor of 1/10 before each closing price, and it's called a weight. In a simple moving average, all the weights are the same, but we want today's price to have the most weight, yesterday's to be a little lighter, the day before yesterday's price to be lighter still, and so on. Let's call this a weighted moving average, or WMA. Naturally, it incorporates the variable of n, and in our case n equals 10. So what do? To start with, we change the factors in our formula to 10, 9, 8, 7 and so on down to 1. The further the price is from today, the less weight it has. We add the finishing touches to this formula by dividing it by the sum of weighting factors. That's it. Now let's see what the formula generates. It's definitely different. Please note that this new moving average has the same number of time periods, 10, but it's faster and more sensitive to fluctuations in price. Although the formula is simple, it would be a real chore to do the calculations manually. Fortunately, we have Rumus to hand, our technical analysis program, and with its help, we just have to select the time period we want in the parameters window. Let me just remind you once more that the greater the value of n is, the slower the moving average is, regardless of what type it is. The introduction to technical analysis of weighted moving averages led to the appearance of a whole raft of ways of averaging data. So, which moving averages are currently in vogue? Well, along with simple moving average, they are exponential moving average, or EMA. Let's compare it to a simple moving average and weighted moving average using the same time parameter. We can see that exponential moving average is faster than simple but more smooth than weighted.